All right, so I'm doing a oil change on my R1 with the Graves exhaust. So I had to take this panel off down here to get to the oil bolt, which should be, I put it back on already because it's already pretty drained. The hard part is when you have modified exhaust, like the Graves, there's no room whatsoever. Let's see if we can see down here. You can see the oil filter. I took it off. I took that oil filter off, but there's no way to get it out. I literally have to remove these pipes right here in order to get to it, because it's far back that way. But this is the Graves exhaust. That's the full system. So that being said, yeah, when you do an oil change on an R1 with a full exhaust like that, it's no picnic. Literally have to take things off in order to get to that oil. And pop that oil filter off. You got oil all over the exhaust, but I'll just wipe it down, let it burn off, not a big deal. Before I put the fairings back on, I'll turn it on and let it burn up. Anyway, just wanted to show you that. So I seen one other guy that had a Graves full exhaust as well, and he had to take those off, I believe. He just didn't show it, so I got to take it off. In any case, that's the fun part. Maybe you can see it there. But yeah, the oil change for the R1 with the Graves exhaust. 2010 R1. I'll show as I put it back together. Not necessarily how to put it back together, because you can figure out how to do that, but just want you to know it's not that much of a picnic having the right tools and everything to do this. But anyway, that's what I wanted to show you. Here's this second part where I have to take everything down and separate the Graves exhaust just to get this little oil filter out, because the oil filter is right back there. Let's see if you can see that. Not a picnic, man. So yeah, it's not that fun doing this when you got to take everything apart just to do an oil change. And then I had the ring from the exhaust fall out, so I got to put that back in there and make sure it's in there correctly. But definitely not a picnic. So when you do decide to do all this stuff to your R1 or sport bike, just remember the clearances change a lot. You know, I did take the bolt out of my radiator as well, so I could pull it out more. But yeah, that's just an oil change, and it's taken me the better part of the day just because I had to get different types of tools to get in there. And then right here we got the clutch cable running through, and it's connected to the radiator hose here. It's gonna try not to get stuff apart, but yeah, you can see that right there. But anyway, I just got to get the filter on. And I personally don't like using filters like this. I actually had to use the method of using my beater here to get it off. But I like to use the K&N oil filter because it's got a nut on the end. But either way, when this bike gets oil changes, all this has to come off. And 2,000, 3,000 miles depending on how you ride, and I ride quite a bit, so yeah, it's not too fun. You know, not too long ago I got my tensioner, I got a mechanical tensioner instead of a hydraulic tensioner. New rectifier, new starter in this thing, and I had my moto mechanic do it, and it costs quite a bit to do that stuff. Here I am doing the oil change, so I could imagine why a lot of these sport bikes are very expensive to have oil changes and things like that. It's not the fact that it's just an oil change, it's everything that has to go through with it to get everything done. But yeah, man, that's a lot of fun. Anyway, so yeah, got to take that apart, take all the springs off. There's one of them, and I got the rest of them over here. What I like to do with my bolts is I like to spray WD-40 on them, just to kind of keep them clean and fresh. But yeah, that's the oil change on a 2010 R1. Again, I got to get that other piece back in there because I know it came out of there, so I don't have an exhaust leak, and that's going to be a lot of fun. But since I got it out this far, I should be able to get it back in there. So yeah, loads of fun. So when you do decide to change the exhaust, and yeah, they sound great. Just remember the added work that's going to come in with them, or just pay somebody to do it for you. I mean, I do that typically, but not on an oil change. But now that I know it's like this, to this extent, well, I guess that's what I'll have to do, is set a day aside to oil change my R1. Like my FZ1 here, it's very simple. It comes clean out of there. I mean, I don't have any problems. There's the filter there. The bolts off to the side. It's very quick. I don't take that long to do it. Right there. So yeah, my FZ1 takes very quickly. I don't have to tear anything apart. But then the exhaust isn't Graves exhaust, and it's not a full exhaust, it's a stock exhaust that came with it. So yeah, well, I hope that helps. But if you have an R1 with Graves full exhaust and you're doing the oil change, you get a better plan on taking that right side off, because that oil filter is not going to come out without doing that, and it's not going to go in without doing that, especially a new one. And I like to fill my filters with fresh oil. So the K&N filter that I use is this guy, and I don't mind spending a few extra bucks so that I can actually get that nipple there. See, makes it so much easier. But for sure, I would much rather have that nipple there than not. But in any case, that's what it takes to do the oil change on an R1 2010 Yamaha with the full Graves exhaust. And again, it's going to take a little bit of time for you. It took me a little bit. Maybe somebody has an easier way to do it. But I can tell you this, with the radiator pump right there and everything just in the way there, yeah, that's not a picnic. But hope this helps. So now it's put back together. Back here, got the brace back on there, bolt, all the pins, just to get that guy in there, just for an oil change. So I'll fill it with oil and see if I got any exhaust leaks. And a little ring came out and I put it back in. But I got to put the fan bolt back in, but otherwise that's what it takes, just in order to get that beautiful little filter in there, because it ain't coming out any other way. You can see that. Let me see if you can see that other bolt back there. Yeah, and then the springs to hold it together. A lot of fun. All right, she's put back together, and it's good. Oil is good. Come up here, I ran it. Oil level is nice. I ran her to 200 degrees, let her set for a bit. No leaks in the exhaust. Yeah, she's ready to run. But yeah, it took the better part of a day to do that. I mean, you could have somebody do it. It's gonna run you a few $100s, I'm sure. Not gonna be cheap. But if you do it yourself, it's gonna take a bit. And you'll need some decent tools. You're definitely gonna need pretty much what I have here: Allen wrenches, rubber mallet. I also got some calipers. That's just if I want to do my chain. Definitely need these guys: a 1/4, 3/8 to 1/2 inch drives, 9-piece. But yeah, that's what it took. It took quite a bit, and I'm gonna go run her for a while and enjoy it. But I know now that if I have to do an oil change, it's gonna take a bit, but I know what I need to take apart. So that was the first oil change that I personally did on this bike. And my FZ1 is pretty easy. It's very easy to do. It's not bad. In any case, yeah, there you go. Hope it helps. Whoever has an R1 2010, and enjoy the bike.